So now I'm gonna talk about things that I experienced while solo traveling, and you know, my experience with it. I will say I was able to really learn to listen to my intuition. There would be times where I'd think like, maybe I shouldn't go into this area, or I should like leave, and I like left, or I was able to really just like be more aware of my surroundings through by putting myself in safer situations. And I knew that like as a woman I didn't want to walk after sunset, so I really like didn't do that wherever I stayed. And if I did, I made sure to like go with someone that I had met. And I also learned to like, yeah, follow my intuition when it comes to like socializing, because believe it or not, I got burnt out like twice, one in Guatemala and two in Colombia. Because in Guatemala, when I was in not like Atitlan, Antigua, I was meeting people like left to right. I'm also a very social person. So yeah, and I remember being so burnt out when I was in Lake Atitlan, or not Lake Atitlan, Antigua, that when my last day there, I was like, yeah, when I get to Lake Atitlan, I'm not gonna talk to anyone. I'm not gonna make any friends. I'm done. Like, I just want to take that time there to just relax and be on like beach time or island time. But it was a lake there. It was a huge ass lake, so I definitely took the time to just enjoy things by myself. Like, I went cliff diving by myself, I went to eat dinners by myself, I went swimming by myself, I paddleboarded by myself, and I was able to ask random people to take photos of me. There would be people, like, say when I paddleboarded, there was this girl there on the boardwalk that was part of my hostel. Like, she was staying there because my hostel offered free paddleboarding that I've never ever done, and got to do in Guatemala. And I thought that was so amazing, and I just literally felt like a child just learning something that I never was able to do. And I asked that girl, I was like, hey, can you take photos of me? And honestly, traveling by yourself really pushes you to be a little bit more outgoing, because for me, I love taking photos. Like, I will love taking photos of myself till I die. But if you suck at approaching people, you have to be on it if you really want those photos. So I would ask like people like that were in my hostels, or like younger people. It is scary. I will say it is scary asking someone to take a photo with you, and then if they run away from with your phone. But thankfully that never happened. And what I would do is, like, whenever I'd be walking areas, I would see like families that you could clearly tell that they were traveling and visiting there, that they probably wanted photos of them. Like, everybody wants to take photos of people, or like of themselves. So obviously you ask them like, oh yeah, do you guys want a photo? I could take a photo of you. And you do that, and then they're like more likely to take a photo of you if you want photos of yourself. So yeah, or you can ask you could ask your tour guide or whatever, like, just do it if you want those photos. But if you don't, then, you know, don't ask anybody. But yeah, so it really pushed me to be a little bit more outgoing, more than I am. And yeah, and it was really great. And another thing that I learned was, yeah, to listen to my social battery and be okay with it. Because the thing is, whenever you're with other people traveling, you can't really just not be with them. You have to be them 24/7. So that can be very annoying to handle. But when you're with yourself, you're not obligated to stay with people you meet, because that's the best thing about solo traveling. And I feel like that's something that's unspoken of. The people that you meet while traveling, you don't have to stay with them. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them another day of plans. If your plans switch, then that's fine. Because honestly, that's happened to me before. Like, I remember when I went clubbing one night in Guatemala with a girl that I had met in my hostel. I had to leave like right away. I thought I was gonna have brunch with her and everything, but I was like, oh, I gotta catch the bus. I gotta go to Lake Atitlan. And we had brunch, but I was like, oof, I had to pack, shower, and go. I texted her. I was like, hey, like, I'm sorry. I was like, hey, I won't be able to see you. I had to catch the bus. So nice meeting you and everything. And we stayed in contact through Instagram or social media. And it was fine. If she was upset, she wasn't vocal about it. She was like, okay, like, I wish you the best. Like, and obviously you cannot ditch your friends whenever you're traveling with them. But whenever you're traveling by yourself, you don't have to like stay with those people. Say, like, you know, like, one example of that is also whenever I went to Colombia, I met a group of girls and we all went island hopping. I did that twice because I did that by myself, and the second time I did it with girls. We went to what is it called? We went to clubbing together, we went island hopping together. It was just an amazing time. And towards the end of the island hopping, it was an option to stay longer and watch stay at night, but like it was just me and some other girl that stayed, and the other people went and they did their own thing, and we didn't really see each other ever, not really much after that trip, and that was fine. We weren't obligated to stay together and be together throughout the whole trip, because you're not obligated. It's literally just you on your own, and if you want to hang out with someone, just let them know, and that's totally fine. And if not, then you literally just do whatever you want, and it's so easy to meet people and like mingle. But yeah, so that's like one thing that I really, it was nice to experience, that you don't feel like you have to stay with the people that you meet while traveling. And trust me, you will meet so many people, because like I told y'all, I got socially burnt out when I was in Colombia, in Medellin. I was so burnt out the last day I was in Medellin, and I was like, I need to take this day to go upstairs to the pool and just swim by myself. And it was so nice doing that, and that was one part that I really enjoyed, just swimming by myself, reading my book at a vegan coffee shop or a vegan restaurant, and I was eating it up. I ordered an appetizer, my meal, a drink. I was crying because the book was so good that I was reading, and I was having the best time of my life. And I didn't have to look over my shoulder and see if the other person that I was traveling with was having a good time, because I was by myself. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Like, when you're by yourself, you don't have to worry about anyone else, how they feel, what you say, if it might trigger them, or like how they're doing, because the only person you have to worry about yourself is yourself. The only person you have to worry about is yourself. Yeah, I said that right. I thought it... Okay, so yeah. So that was a really good experience. I was able to really gain a lot of more intuition and listening to myself. And also, what else? Let me see if yours... Microphone expectations. Oh, yeah, I feel like it was also really great, because I made a lot of like different friends, like friendships, I want to say, but not really, like more like travel friends. And it's really cool seeing them, what they're doing, what they're up to. Like, some people were still traveling after like I was done with my trip, because I remember meeting this girl. She was like traveling for 6 months, and I think she extended it for like another year. And another girl was doing a whole year trip, and she was like at her 6-month mark. And it's so cool just hearing people's stories and getting to know them, and seeing how like what made them do this trip. For like, I genuinely feel like I was probably the only one that did like a short trip, and that was totally fine. People are not judgmental of you about like, oh, like you're only doing a 1 week, damn. Like, nobody really cares. And I feel like whenever you're traveling, you get to see and experience this version of yourself you most likely won't whenever you're in your local hometown or wherever you are, because I feel that whenever you're with your friends, they see this version of you and they kind of expect that version of you, and that applies to you whenever you're traveling. But whenever you're by yourself, you could be whoever you want to be, and that doesn't have to be that person that you are at your hometown. It could be someone that's, you know, like outgoing and extroverted if you're like an introverted person, but like you just get to be whoever the fuck you want to be unconditionally, and feel like non-judgmental, because nobody knows you. They don't know who you are. So be whoever you want to be when you're traveling. And it's such an amazing, and it's just so liberating and such a great experience to just be yourself and not care what other people are going to think about you. And yeah, so that's like one of the things that I felt like I experienced. Not that I was a drastic person, but I just feel like I was able to be something that I'm not really normally, and not feel like, oh, like I wonder how that's gonna affect other people or anything. But I was just like, like, say if I wanted to approach people and socialize, like I didn't have to like worry about like my friends like feeling some type of way if I approached a group of girls or anything. Okay, so yeah, that is basically the conclusion of my video. I honestly wanted to end this with a note or like a message to you all. I really want to say that I was really anxious and I was nervous when I was gonna solo travel. Like, I've been very vocal about that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I will say I don't think there was ever really much. When I look back at my trips, I don't think there's anything that I regret while doing during those trips. I feel like I look back at it and I'm so glad that I took every single trip that I did, because I feel that in this lifetime there's so much to experience, and there's so much, like, the world is so huge. and it's you're so young, and if you really don't have any big, huge responsibilities, then why are you letting yourself like stop your why are you letting your fears of the unknown stop you from taking that trip and experiencing life? I really think that traveling just really makes you fall back in love with life and really rejuvenates you and puts just like a different perspective on you, because you meet so many people, you learn so many things, you learn about the culture there, you learn about the history if you really want to. Like, I generally feel like I had such a great time for all of my trips that I've taken. One of the things that I didn't talk about was how I also have been to Europe, but in Europe I was with my friends, and I think the only part that I was by myself was when I was in Amsterdam, and I love that part. And yeah, and I will continue to solo travel and also go travel with my friends. And I will say, like, traveling with friends is great, it's in its own lane, but traveling by yourself, it's amazing. Like, I have no complaints. Like, literally, you just, it's so amazing, and I'm all for it for solo traveling. So yeah, yeah, like, I feel that I was really able to fall back in love with life with solo traveling. And if you are contemplating, I feel like this is your sign to take that trip and know that everything's gonna be fun, because I always tell myself whenever I look back in my life, I want to know that I didn't let myself get stopped by my limits, by my fears, to do things that I wanted to do and experience things that I wanted to experience. And you could honestly want to take that trip, learn about traveling, and by watching this video, but you don't figure out your life by watching other people, you figure it out by living it and experiencing it. Because I could tell you all these things about traveling, but they're not gonna be the same as you experiencing them and you going through those things. And there might be little challenges that you face while traveling, and that's great because it really shows you how you handle things, and how also you get to see how beautiful different countries are and different cultures are, and how welcoming certain groups or certain people are from different countries. And I honestly want to say that, like, my heart is in Colombia because I love that place. I literally love Colombia so much. And yeah, I had like the best of memories. And it's kind of sad though, because I feel like no one's really gonna know what you experienced but you, but that makes it even more memorable to you, because it's like, I know what I experienced and I don't need to tell the world about like those specific details, because I could just like think about how, like, for me, like, sometimes I think about like, wow, I was really in Colombia like one night, like laying like swimming in the deep waters, or like in the waters like at dark, because when you move around you get to see like plankton and it glows. And honestly was really scared because like, oh my god, an animal can pop out. But then I just remember looking at the stars and gazing at them and just seeing how beautiful they are. And those memories to me are very like, I hold them close to my heart, and I'm sure that you all will be able to create amazing memories from your trips. So yeah, like I said, I'm all for it. I hope you all have a amazing trips whenever you decide to take a trip or solo travel. But yeah, thank you for watching my video, and I hope you like and subscribe. Leave any questions if you have them in the comment section. I wish you all the best.